Hello, family. Coach Kenneth here. First, I want to thank you all for watching, wherever you're watching from. Hopefully, having a great, wonderful afternoon. Today, I'm going to share something with you. It's going to be mind blowing. Let's talk about diets and how diets impact your life either positively or negatively. And a lot of times today in America, especially in America, a lot of our diets are impacting people around the country in a negative aspect. That's because they don't know this one thing: meat-based diets. Right, I grew up in the country, grew up on a farm in South Carolina, so I ate a lot of meats. I had chicken, I had pork, I had beef, I had deer, I had some squirrel, even some wild animals also. So I grew up on a farm where my life was pretty much encamped around meats. But I also had vegetation. My grandmother had a garden, and in that garden she grew all types of nice juicy tomatoes and carrots and cabbage and turnip greens and collard greens and all these nice juicy things, even okra. Even though as a kid I couldn't stand okra, but right now I love okra. And so I was introduced at a very young age to a lot of different types of meat, but at the same time a lot of different healthy vegetations that was healthy for me. And this is what happens. A lot of us in America today, primarily the diets we eat, the foods we're eating, when I say diet, I mean what you typically eat on a daily basis, are meat based. A lot of meat, whether it's fried chicken, whether it's turkey, whether it's beef, whether it's lamb, no matter what it is, it's heavily based on meats and just a little bit of vegetation, a little bit of vegetables. And what happens is the country itself is suffering from a huge, huge crisis when it comes to high blood pressure, when it comes to diabetes type 2, when it comes to cancer, when it comes to diverticulitis or IBS. All these ailments are popping up all over the place. And not just in adults, but also in children also. Well, what can be the primary cause of this? Well, I already touched on that a little bit. Meats. But why are meats so impactful? Why are meats so damaging to the body? Why are meats so dangerous, especially in excess to the body? Let me explain. Meats naturally contain one type of salt, and that salt is called sodium chloride. Right? It's found in every edible meat that a person eats here in the United States. You can find it in fish, you find it in beef, find it in pork, find it in chicken, right? Find it in turkey. They all have sodium chloride. It's a salt that's naturally found in their tissues. So when a person kills these animals, right, and they put it on the stove and they cook it, bake it, steam it, boil it, whatever the case is, these animals already have sodium chloride, which is a salt that's naturally found in the flesh. But now, what the typical American does, they take the meat and they add seasonings to it, right? One of the seasonings that people add to it is salt, right? Now, I want you to stay with me for a second. They add salt to the flesh to give it some taste, give it some flavor. And then they consume it once, twice, three times, sometimes more than that every single day or several times a week. And then as a result of doing this, they become elevated they have elevated cholesterol levels, elevated blood pressure. And the reason why is because the same salt that the flesh has within itself, in that animal's flesh, is the same salt that people are adding to that animal just to make it taste good. The typical everyday American table salt is nothing but pure sodium chloride with fillers. So now you're adding more sodium chloride to chicken that already has sodium chloride inside of it. So now you're overdosing by adding more salt to it, to an animal already has the same type of sodium chloride within its own flesh. And when you consume this thing on a daily basis, now your blood pressure elevates. You got too much salt inside the system. Now your cholesterol elevates. Because here's something that happens also. Every animal, all the flesh, all the meat that you eat, also naturally has something called LDL, which is something our livers makes on its own. Your liver makes LDL and HDL. That's cholesterol. And it makes enough of it for the entire body. So the HDL is the good cholesterol. The LDL is the bad cholesterol. Here's what happens. When you eat meat, chicken, beef, any type of flesh that already has LDL in it, and your liver has already made enough LDL for your entire body, now you're eating this meat that has LDL in it. So now when you eat this meat, you're overdosing on LDL, which raises your bad cholesterol levels, which now causes the arteries to become clogged with that bad cholesterol. It affects your brain. And then once your arteries start to become clogged, two things happen when you go see the doctor. One, they either have to perform open heart surgery if your heart has been clogged, right? Or they put you on statins. And statins naturally shrink your brain over a period of time. So all this can be reversed by simply eating a raw whole food diet or a raw vegan diet. Because what that does, it helps clear the arteries out, keeps everything nice and cleansed, right? And plus, plant foods don't have huge amounts of sodium chloride. They have other types of salts, which is electrolytes like potassium, magnesium, right, in abundance. But these salts are naturally healthy for the body. Your brain needs magnesium and potassium just to beat, right? So your body needs these other electrolytes that you get in different types of amounts from plant-based foods. But when you eat meat, you're primarily getting a bulk of sodium chloride. And again, the typical average American adds more sodium chloride to that meat, which jacks up the salt levels, which affects their bodies, and wind up having to be on medication. So in order to lower your blood pressure, to stabilize it, in order to lower your cholesterol levels and have more healthy cholesterol, in order not to even become diabetic, revert to eating plants. A lot more plant-based foods. Raw, whole food, apples, oranges, pears, vegetables, seeds, legumes, and have more of this on the kitchen table that makes its way to the dining room table. And when you consume this, you'll feel better, you'll look better, you'll breathe easier, knowing that you're giving your body all the right nutrients that it needs to live. With that said, I want to thank you all for watching. For more information about raw plant-based meal plans, or maybe you want to have a raw plant-based meal plan with a grocery shopping list, comment below on this video, or inbox me, or PM me, wherever you might be watching it. The President God of me, blessed the President God of you. Keep winning. I'll talk to you soon.